Birthday, Coffee Oasis, huh? I did write what I'm going to say, and told Bryce that I wanted to share and then have my mom share before the video because there probably won't be a dry eye in the room after it. It's amazing to see what God has done in 25 years with just us trying to simply say yes over and over again, and the number of people saying yes. We want to open our doors wide and welcome everybody in. I see that number of people grow and grow and grow. So I want to give a special thanks to the staff, the team of Coffee Oasis. I know that people get to see me speak a lot, but man, the boots on the ground, the people doing the hard work, the staff who are here day in and day out. Can you give them just a huge round of applause? And also want to mention past, present, future board members. I felt so helped, empowered by the board that has stepped up in huge ways. As many of you know, in 2019 there was just a very sudden shift as my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and 2 weeks later I took over as interim executive director, and the board was an incredible support and has been. They've taken so much weight off my shoulders, cared for me really well, and so if you would please cheer for the board. And then lastly, Paul, would you mind shutting the doors just so I know you guys will keep being distracted unless we do that. Okay. My thoughts for our 25th anniversary. Can everyone hear me well too? Can you hear in the back? You good? Okay. When I was a child, my favorite part of the community park was the swing set. I could sit for hours and swing, swing, swing. As a child, it's the closest thing you get to flying, swinging, pumping your legs back and forth. You head up, levitate for a moment, and then you rush back to earth. Now, there's a special part of swinging, especially when you're too little to pump yourself back and forth to the heights, the true heights of swinging, and it's when someone pushes you, and it's called this move called the underdog. How many of you have ever had the underdog? Okay, some of you guys are just lying. You're like, I was always able to do it. No, you weren't. You need somebody to push you. Well, why am I talking about this on this hallowed day? Well, the definition of an underdog is this: someone who is disadvantaged. And that is the story of the Coffee Oasis. When the Coffee Oasis started in 1997, we did not have the advantage of experience or support. We were a small group of people that held the seeds of a dream. And that dream was contained in the mission to bring the hope of Christ to the pain on the streets. The hope we had was strong, but the pain in our cities was immense. We were like a small child trying to desperately pump our swing. We were very much the underdog. But thankfully, underdogs seem to attract other underdogs. Kids who were hurting and had nobody in their corner found a place to belong here at the Coffee Oasis. Their survival instincts that had been finely tuned to detect danger told them that this was an oasis where they could rest and be refreshed. Tell you what, for a long time I didn't like the name Oasis, and I told my dad that once, and he's like, but that is what we are. Place to rest and be refreshed. And so we became a place for those who advantage seemed to pass over. I can look back at those years and still feel the immensity of it all. The overwhelming feeling of wondering how we would feed everybody or care for everybody that walked through the door. It's the same feeling of being that little kid pushing and pumping, but gravity seems to keep pulling you down. And then we got a push. We were given an underdog. People like you stepped up, surrounded us, and suddenly we had incredible momentum. What started as an 800 square foot location over on Warren Avenue became drop-in centers, cafes, shelters spanning throughout Kitsap and now into Pierce County. What only a few hands could do expanded to hundreds and even thousands of pairs of hands over time, celebrating the mission and restoring the communities we were in. This last week, I spoke with a man who had recently learned about the Coffee Oasis. Oftentimes, I'm invited, hey, can we grab coffee? I heard about you. One of those talks. He lives in Pierce County and was introduced to us through a friend who fell in love with our work, came to an event. And when I met with him, he said this. He kept saying this over and over. He kept saying, it's just all so good. But I told him that it wasn't. I said, I'm glad you have that perception. but I'll be the first to tell you that we have our warts. We're still figuring our way forward. Not every story at the Coffee Oasis ends happy. So important. I go to speak plays all the time. We're like, man, you just shared so many successes. It's like, do you guys fail? And I was like, oh man, that's a longer list. It's true. 25 years in, we're more aware of that than ever before. But I do like his summary. We're here because the Coffee Oasis is good. It's a good story, not because we have amazing coffee that you get to taste, or because lives have been changed. But from the beginning, our story has been about God's relentless love for people. For us, God's relentless love smells like a cup of hot coffee. It looks like us communicating to people, we want you here. We want you here. It's unqualified, we want you here. The end of 25 years, Lord willing, the beginning of 25 years more, the coffee is still hot. We are looking forward to everyone who walks through the door to communicate to them, we want you here. So thank you so much for being a part of our journey. And I'm going to invite my mom up, who has a distinguished title of being a co-founder of Coffee Oasis. And then following that, we're going to show you a video.
Hi. Normally this would be Dave here, but when today was coming, I said to Daniel, I really want to share. So, many of you have heard me say so many times, we want to do it for God's glory. This phrase was spoken by Dave often as he shared his vision for the Coffee Oasis and his passion for making a difference in the lives of struggling youth and in the world surrounding struggling youth. Today, as we celebrate 25 years of the Coffee Oasis, I would like to declare, to God be the glory. To God be the glory for the price of the original business on Warren Avenue being lowered to the same amount that God put in Dave's mind during the night before re-inquiring about it in 1997. To God be the glory for the first 4 youth who came in on the first Friday night team night. Check it out. To God be the glory for the dozens who joined along in the weeks that followed. To God be the glory for an empty building right here, needing a renter centrally located away from residences on Burwell Street, bigger, and listed at an affordable price in 1998. To God be the glory for the many, many faithful volunteers who have hung out with kids and invested God's love and hope in their lives. To God be the glory for the addition of a clothing closet, a shower, a food pantry, and laundry facilities for youth in 2006. To God be the glory for barista training opportunities for youth led by Erica, beginning in 2007. To God be the glory for the addition of lockers, email access, receiving mail, and phone messages for youth in 2008. To God be the glory for launching 3 full-time youth programs Street Hope, which was street outreach led by Daniel. Partnering Hope, which was case management led by Erica. And expanded Oasis Center days and hours with Jake in 2009. These added much needed support for youth beyond dropping in and just hanging out. To God be the glory for launching Hope Inc., which is job training and internships for youth, led by Pat in 2010. To God be the glory for God's own capital funds campaign that he launched in 2011. We wanted to purchase this Burwell location and renovate to include a shelter for homeless youth upstairs. Upon contacting a couple of capital funds raising consultants, we found that their services were very expensive, and they thought it would take about 3 years. We didn't have that kind of money or that time. And God alone brought in $750,000 needed within 1 year. We've got to clap for that. To God be the glory for prompting the owner of the building behind the Burwell Coffee Oasis back there to agree to sell at a very reasonable price, so we had a home for all our staff and their desks, and it even included a parking lot. To God be the glory for the owners of a pizza shop in Port Orchard who reached out to the Coffee Oasis to take over their business. Yes, for a while the Coffee Oasis served made from scratch. To God be the glory for Paul, who launched the Port Orchard Oasis Drop-In Center in a small entryway in front of the restaurant. To God be the glory for the blackberries growing into a neighbor's yard. When they complained to the owners of the abandoned KFC building, the owners asked, "You know any nonprofit we could donate this building to?" The neighbor answered, "Coffee Oasis." The building served as a restaurant in a drive-through location for 5 years. To God be the glory for Mayor Becky of Paulsville, who called and asked, "What do we need to do to get Coffee Oasis in Paulsville?" We need what you have for our youth. To God be the glory for persistent and generous Kingston residents who rallied to bring Coffee Oasis into a building generously made affordable by the county. To God be the glory for Angela Connolly, who pursued Dave after being told certainly Tacoma is big enough to do something about their homeless youth without their help from KidSat. To God be the glory for the youth finding housing, support, and hope through the love of Christ found at the Coffee Oasis. To God be the glory for having Daniel step into executive director position as he continues to live out the passion for making a difference in the lives of struggling youth and in the world surrounding struggling youth. To God be the glory for the 100,000 given in memory of Dave for the constructing of Dave's place, a name God placed in Daniel's mind and the mind of the donating individual without having consulted each other. Construction is to begin on this soon, and that's going to be in that parking lot back here, and it's going to be the rock. To God be the glory for Christmas parties with youth and their families and the community involvement to make Christmas wishes come true. To God be the glory for Jerry, the meth addict father of 3 Coffee Oasis youth coming to Jesus and being freed from addiction. To God be the glory for a youth who walked in to a Friday night teen night, sat down at a table and said to myself and another volunteer, "I want to accept Jesus." To God be the glory she knew where to come to find out how. To God be the glory for the young man who walked into Coffee O intent on beating someone up and encountered a volunteer, Brian, instead, who spent the evening walking the streets of Bremerton with him, talking about the pain and where hope and change could come from. This youth, Rocky, went on to become a new person in Christ and eventually part of the Coffee Oasis staff. To God be the glory for Dave meeting Shayna's sister while visiting youth at the Juvenile Detention Center, and them both becoming part of our family through foster care. To God be the glory for youth previously in and out of incarceration and running the streets, now being adults, managing restaurants, owning businesses, mentoring youth who are struggling, married, and raising families. To God be the glory for the youth who have moved from our shelters into permanent housing, To God be the glory for the youth completing job internships and securing employment. To God be the glory for mended family relationships for youth. To God be the glory for freedom from addictions for youth. And to God be the glory for emotional healing for youth. There is no other explanation for what has been done except that it's done. To God be the glory.